The host isn't even that option.
Oh.
Or maybe it doesn't matter.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Sorry, technical
We're
difficulties. We're signing in on
working
like
out.
multiple devices to get everything covered. There we go.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, this was my first time like setting up the Zoom or like being the host, I guess, of the training. So it was easier than I thought, which is great. But
That's good. That's
Okay, I think we gotta figure it out.
okay. And that's do you want to double check the right position? So we kind of thought we'd start with like talking about us a little bit and like the background and how we got started in this and everything, and then kind of jump into what we're putting on the board and talk a little bit about that. And then we've got another camera on the board, so we're going to switch to that at some point so that people can actually see us making the board and watch us and how we do the slicing and all that fun stuff. So
I love that. I love the camera placement on the board. That's so cool.
Oh, good. You
It's
saw
gonna be
that
great.
for a minute. Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if Tara said this. This is our first time, so
yeah.
No,
this will
it's totally fine.
if I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll be
It's super casual. So, you know, whatever happens. It's totally fine. But I will start it off. Oh, I don't know if you guys are still there.
I think you will once, because I don't have my video on. So once we turn
Oh,
it
you
to
don't have
like
it on.
speaker and whatever, then yeah, I turned it off.
Gotcha.
But we can turn it on.
But yeah, I will just start it off and just kind of go over, you know, reminding people to stay on mute and like the check-in code and stuff like that for like our purposes basically. But yeah, and then I'll kind of turn it over to you guys if that works.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, can you send us the participant list at the end or like tomorrow or whenever?
Definitely. Yeah.
We're gonna do like a discount.
Okay,
Wants
awesome.
to order a board in the future or something, we wanted to offer a discount to anybody that was on this call. So
that's perfect. I'm gonna make a note of that.
You want? Haley, it looks like you're in your kitchen. Are you gonna build your board with us?
I am.
Awesome.
good.
So I'm so excited. I went to Trader Joe's and followed your list, which was perfect because like, everything was right. Whenever I would like look at the list, I would look up and it was like right there. So it was just
good. It was like the universe was telling you, here you are, you're in the right place.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, we're obsessed with Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I haven't been there like in a while, and I don't go there super often just because it's not super close to my house. But yeah, I love it. I need to go more often.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge now because there's generally lines to get in.
Yeah, there was.
I don't know. So my husband's always like, I am not standing in this line. I'm like, oh, I'm standing in the line. Like this is where we grocery shop.
Yeah, it moved pretty quickly. Like when I walked up, I was like, oh man, there's a line. And then it was like super fast. So
yeah, they do a good job of moving people in and out of there.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's a place where if you are a grocery shopper that you go up and down every aisle, like at least you know what you're going for the most part. Like it's not just a perusal type of a store. Sometimes it is. Like if I'm looking for new stuff or whatever, but yeah. And I think everybody who goes there and stands in line knows that there's people out there standing in lines. So just like, okay, like, stop and get out of here so the next person can get in.
Yeah, exactly.
So Kaylee, are you guys recording this?
Yes, I can if I know how to.
Oh, I don't think
we press record down here.
I think it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to either.
No, I was just wondering if you were.
I don't think we typically do. I haven't done a virtual training yet. Like the ones that I have done were back last year when we were in person for them. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If I like have to or anything, but.
Yeah, I have no idea. I basically know how to join a Zoom call and start a Zoom call, and then you get really much further than that.
Yeah.
So depressing. I feel like lately, Tara and I both have been talking about this, that like I feel like I'm pretty tech savvy for the most part, but then this week, stuff has been popping up and I'm like, dude, am I just like crazy old or what is going on? Because I don't know these things.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like all of a sudden we've had to be a lot more tech savvy than we were used to before. Like
that's true.
All of a sudden everything's on computer or phone or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and so many of my meetings are like different platforms. Like it's Microsoft Teams or it's GoToMeeting or it's Zoom or it's, so you kind of have to get used to all of them.
Yeah.
I also meant to ask earlier, sorry. Do you guys want to keep an eye on the chat in case there are questions for you as you're going? Or
we have a separate screen for chat open.
Perfect.
With all the screens.
With all the screens.
You are super tech savvy.
Screen on the board, screen on the chat, so we're like, so we can pay attention to any questions.
Yeah, so we'll try and keep an eye on it because we thought, if questions come up, definitely want people chatting. And we'll try and answer those as we go. And then at the end, we can just open it up and unmute people if they want to unmute and ask questions and stuff like that. But that's what we think. So at least the plan. It's awesome that you like have such a huge group here in Kansas City. I didn't realize how many people you guys had.
Yeah, I know there is quite a bit of people in the group.
We were talking to some friends about it the other day and we were like, oh yeah, we're doing this virtual training for the junior league. And one of our friends who's younger than us, so I don't know, maybe she was like, is that like junior high kids or what is that? What is the junior league? Is it like a Girl Scout situation? That would be a hot mess trying to teach a bunch of like 10-year-olds how to do a charcuterie board, first of all, but no. Right. It's like a great group of women who do like all of these things, like great charitable events and stuff. And so it was just funny because we both knew what the junior league is, but I didn't really, she definitely did not know what it was.
It wasn't like even a little bit close. That's funny. I know, I was glad that we were able to, sorry, go ahead.
Is our volume okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I'm glad that we were able to do it virtual, even though like it would have, like we kind of talked about, it would be cool to be hands-on and in person, and hopefully someday we get to do that. But I think it's cool because there's so many people signed up for tonight. So I'm
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Really exciting. Also a little nerve-wracking, but very exciting.
like
Yeah,
I
when
said,
you
like
sent your
just
email,
do,
we were like,
What? 90 what?
that's funny. No, you're fine. You just do you, and
It'll be
super
fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well,
that's funny.
it's just the board. I don't know. Scrolling. Ashley. Oh, just joined. How did she know? We're back.
I started playing around with it, but I figured a way to pin your video, like the board one, so it's bigger.
Oh, perfect. Good.
That's cool.
Yeah, we were gonna say too, I think usually with Zoom, it will pick up the speaker as the larger one. And so we can play with that too on our end. But yeah, if you can pin it, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know if
we'll
it goes
talk
to
and we can,
everyone's.
because we'll, at the beginning, like, we'll show some of the stuff and then we'll move over to the board. But yeah, if you can pin it, then that'd be
Okay.
perfect.
Perfect. We'll give it just a couple more minutes. All right, so I think we might go ahead and get started if you guys are good with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Just so we can kind of hopefully be on time here. I am Kaylee, and I'm with the training committee for Junior League. And I just want to say thank you guys to everyone that's been on, that's jumping on here tonight. I do want to go over a couple quick little housekeeping things. The first one is I did put the check-in code for tonight's training in the chat, and it is 434147. So be sure to check in so you can get credit for tonight's training. If you have any issues with that, just let me know, but it should be pretty smooth. Also, if you guys can try and keep yourself on mute throughout the training tonight. We have quite a few people on here, which is awesome, but we just want to kind of eliminate background noise and anything like that. So if you do have questions though throughout the training, then feel free to throw them in the chat and they will be answered and monitored and everything. So that will, you can just put them all in the chat. But now I will go ahead and, yes, I will retype the code in just a second. But I will go ahead and turn it over to Tara and Taylor. They're with Spread KC. And they are like pros at all things charcuterie boards. So they're going to teach us their tips and tricks for making our own boards. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera. Maybe I might stay on camera, but I'm going to follow along and turn it over to you guys.
Oh, thanks, Kaylee. Hi, everybody. This is so exciting. I'm Tara.
I'm Taylor.
And we're the faces behind Spread. Thanks so much for having us on here today. This is really fun. Fun fact, this is our first time training, so bear with us. You are our guinea pigs. If we stumble through anything, that's why. But just a little history about us. We've been friends forever. We met in college, and that was years ago. We're not going to say it out loud. Yeah, like a handful of years ago. But we've been friends for a really long time. We both have degrees in interior design. That's what we went to school for, and have done design for a lot of years. And then just kind of very recently, both of us have transitioned into sales rep positions, still in the design and construction industry, but sales reps instead of interior designers. And we have now found another way to kind of release our creative juices and stuff with the charcuterie boards, and doing this as a little bit of a side gig. So that's kind of a little bit about us.
Yeah. Caitlin, I just saw a chat that you're just seeing a digital cheetah. Are you guys seeing us okay?
Digital cheetah.
I don't know. It just says seeing spot / digital cheetah.
That's how we check in for.
Okay, good. So you're just like, hey, you guys, like, you know, I don't know. Anyway.
I mean,
again,
no,
cheetahs are great. We love cheetahs. We love spots. No, so anyway, as Sarah was saying, yeah, we've known each other for lots of years. And have both, I think, individually had been doing, we love to entertain, had been doing charcuterie boards on our own, kind of whatever. We would have people over. And we had some friends who just kept encouraging us to just dive in and do this as a business. We were a little apprehensive, like, who's going to pay us to do this? You know, like, everybody just does it. Like, you just put it together a cheese board, right? And as we're finding, maybe some people don't. Now, after this class, you guys are all going to be pros too. But we still want you to order from us, of course, obviously. No, just kidding. You're going to know totally what you're doing. So anyway, so January of last year, 2019, that one of the friends who kept encouraging us to do it was like, that's it. I'm hosting book club this month. I want you guys to do a board and I want you to charge me for it. And we're like, oh God, we don't even know what to charge. So anyway, she fast tracked us into doing it. Thank God for her. And so then one of the girls that was at her book club then ordered a Super Bowl board, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really been word of mouth for us is how we've grown. And we've just loved it. I mean, last year, of course, was much busier than this year, if you don't know why, but we've actually started picking up, and we've been doing some really fun kind of individual boxes. We've done some for design firms that we work for, businesses that want to, like, treat their employees or their staff, like events that people have going on, that you can't maybe do a big shared board. So we've started doing some individual boards, which have been, or boxes, excuse me, that have been a lot of fun, and just kind of a new avenue for us. So certainly a charcuterie board doesn't have to be in a board. It can be on a plate or in a box, or, I mean, you've probably, if you follow anybody on Instagram that does this stuff, a lot of people are doing little cones and little tiny plates, and it's just a ton of fun that this kind of industry, I don't know that it's really called an industry, but has kind of grown into what it is. So
it's like one thing about 2020 is I think that a lot of people have realized it makes you think outside the box and like different ways of doing things.
In the box.
Or inside a tiny box. I don't know, but just different ways to do things. And we've kind of had to adjust with the times right now too, and
for sure.
shifted from boards to boxes in a lot of cases lately. So, but yeah, so that's a little bit of our history. And now we're going to kind of dive into what we shop for and kind of why we do buy some of the things that we buy for the boards. And then we'll shift over to actually like building and creating the board for you guys. So
hopefully you guys got the shopping list.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know. I know Kaylee's going to be building along with us. I hope that others are. So hopefully after all this, we're going to be able to go off mute, and maybe we'll switch over one of our devices to start seeing galleries. So maybe you guys can show us your boards if you've done them. I'm sure they're going to look amazing. So
right now we're just staring at ourselves, and that's fun.
You all know how Zoom is. It's real interesting. So okay, we're going to show you guys ingredients now in case you didn't go shopping.
We sent you a list that included 3 different kinds of cheeses for it. We're going to build a small board today, and typically we don't put 3 types of cheeses on a small board, but we wanted to show a little, but we wanted to show a little variety and kind of different techniques of cutting or slicing or whatever the different types of cheeses. So that's why we had 3 on this board today. But the first one was this unexpected cheddar from Trader Joe's, which is one of our faves. It's a great white cheddar, but this one's really, really good for cutting up into little chunks and putting on a board, which is just a really nice kind of rustic look.
Shayla, you should build it tomorrow. So follow along tonight and then build it tomorrow. Shayla she's prepping for dinner tomorrow night.
Yes.
And she was wondering if she should build it tonight and serve it tomorrow.
So
I think is what you're saying, or build it tomorrow and serve it tomorrow. So we would say, build it tomorrow
for sure. One of the things about charcuterie boards is that it tends to be kind of a last minute creation for an event, which makes it kind of tough as you're the person throwing the event, but it's
why you should call us.
Why you need us. But one of the reasons for that is, and you'll see as we build the board, everything's kind of close and tight together and touching and everything. So the crackers tend to get a little mushier if they're next to other things, or they'll tend to take on a lot of the meat flavors or things like that. And you don't want all that stuff to get like weird. So it's best to just build the board kind of right before your event.
We can talk about, though, a few things that you can do still tomorrow, but even earlier than an hour or so before your dinner that will help in preparation. So we'll kind of talk about that as we're doing the board. Things that we can do kind of ahead of time, like if we're rushing or doing multiple things, and sometimes we prep ahead of time, so then whenever you're putting everything together on a board, it kind of cuts down the time. So we'll talk about that too.
But good question.
Yes.
So the second cheese we have is a brie. This is just a nice triple cream brie that we had on here. We tend to like to do different types of cheeses on the board, so like a soft, a hard, maybe a spreadable. Like this brie is going to be kind of a spreadable option. And then the other one we had was this double cream Gouda that we selected. That's kind of semi-soft on this one, but it's nice and sliceable, so we can get different looks with the cheeses. So we've got the one that's going to be in chunks, we've got one that's going to be in slices, and then one that's going to be in this wedge form on the board, so they look kind of different
colors too. So the Gouda is kind of a yellowy color. A lot of the cheeses at Trader Joe's and various places have different color rinds, so that's even a way to add something different. Even if the cheese is all white, You know, you might have a purple rind or a red rind from a Gouda or something like that. There's so many seasonal cheeses that have different rinds that help the taste and the flavor of the cheese. So those are really fun to put on boards.
Yeah. And the different looks of them just kind of make the board a little more interesting and colorful and stuff too. So, and then also one little tip, is it 2 ounces per person? Yeah. One little tip to think about too is that you'll need probably about 2 ounces of cheese per person on the board. So if you're thinking about this as being an appetizer situation for an event, if you figure about 2 ounces of cheese per person, that kind of gets you into the correct amount of cheese to put on the board. And then we'll move into the meats. So this one, in the funniest shape of all shapes, is one of our favorite salami. So this is one of them from Trader Joe's. This was on the list, the little white powder salami that we like to slice up because it makes really great slices. And it's also kind of a fan favorite, really good flavor, and it goes with a lot of different kinds of cheeses too. So it pairs really well with a lot of stuff.
They don't always have it at Trader Joe's, though, we found, because when I went shopping for tonight, they didn't have it. So so maybe some of you found it, which is great. Certainly you can use whatever. There's a ton of other like salami logs that you can use.
So you'll find this in the they have a little salami, like the deli meat section in Trader Joe's. Anyway, it was like kind of they have a little section of just salamis and that kind of stuff, and it's just down from the cheeses.
Specifically at the at the Ward Parkway Target, it's just down. Oh, a Chianti one, delicious.
Very good. Yes, we've had that before too.
It's literally just like if you're moving down the aisle, there's cheese, and then there's like shredded cheese and like smoked salmon, and then there's like deli meat, and then there's salamis, packaged salamis, log salamis, prosciutto, all of that stuff. So it's all going to be in that section. I think at the other Trader Joe's, it's kind of on the opposite wall of like the raw meat section is on one side with the vegetables and stuff, and then the other side of the store has the cheeses and the salami and stuff like that. So they're set up a little bit different. And of course, that's just at Trader Joe's. We're a little bit obsessed with Trader Joe's.
But if you're shopping at like a Hy-Vee or something, then it's usually in the artisanal cheese section. So
like in the deli
area.
Yeah. Instead of the lunch meat section.
Yeah. So that's kind of where you'll typically find them. We also had prosciutto on the list. Prosciutto is a really great pair with the unexpected cheddar or any kind of white cheddar, but also the brie is really great with the prosciutto. So that's why we put this one on the list. It's also kind of a fun one to do different kind of presentations with. You can do little prosciutto rosettes or rolls or little piles and stuff. So it adds a lot of texture to the board. So that's why we selected that one. And then the last one was the Calabrese salami, so just another flavor profile with this one, and also kind of a safe salami, if you will. A lot of people like this one, so it tends to be an easy one if you're kind of feeding a crowd that you're not sure what their likes or dislikes are. This one's a great one.
It kind of looks like a big pepperoni, so people are fine with it if they're a little bit nervous about trying something with a white rind or whatever. The other point that we like to make with salami, when I said white rind, it made me think about this, is try to find a salami that doesn't have a casing. So a lot of them do, which is fine, and you can easily take that casing off. I would recommend taking it off before you slice it and before you put it on the board, because we all know if you're at a party or something and then you bite into a piece of salami that has casing on it and you're like, oh God, what am I supposed to do with this? And you're pulling it out of your mouth. So it's just easier to just get rid of that casing. It's fine to buy it with it. If you can find it without, just makes your life a little bit easier, but you can certainly cut the casing off by like slicing down the length of the salami and kind of just unwrapping it. So, but that's something that we've learned in all of this as well.
Yeah. Okay. And then moving on to the crackers. This one we selected, which is the really grainy, crisp bread, large piece. We'll show you how we kind of present it on the board, but this one's just another kind of really rustic look to it, but it has a great flavor profile, but it looks really good on the boards too. So that's why we picked that one. And then, Trader Joe's, we just realized, has changed their cracker location. So if anybody had any trouble finding those, we did the other day. And then we also did just kind of a more simple basic cracker. So this one's just a water cracker. We also mentioned you could grab a rice cracker or just a simple wheat cracker or something like that, but something a little more kind of basic. So you've got the one that's a little different, I guess, if you will, but if people are scared of different.
We were very distraught too when they moved the crackers. We were like, really? Like literally a Trader Joe's employee came up to us and was like, are you okay? They're right here. They're like right behind you.
We had a moment of panic that we couldn't find our crackers.
Stuff. I don't know stuff. Pita bread is great.
Yes.
And in fact, we love, so at Costco, they have naan in little bite-sized pieces in their refrigerated section, and it's kind of like a big plastic container of them, you know, Costco size, of course, but they're fresh naan, so pita essentially, and we love putting that on boards. But pita crackers, pita bread, if you slice it up, 100%, anything that you like. That's the thing with charcuterie boards, is really, it doesn't matter what you buy, just whatever you like, put it on there, and you can make it look great. So yeah, you don't need to buy fancy stuff. Like we said, I mean, we buy,
I think this is like $1.99.
yeah, we buy stuff at Whole Foods sometimes. Like we'll go to the produce section of Whole Foods if we want something like different and fancy. Yeah. But we do a ton at Costco, Trader Joe's, Hy-Vee, Price Chopper.
And that's a lot of times we have to buy in bulk too, because we're doing several boards, or we have several coming up in a day or whatever. So we'll buy a lot of stuff in bulk sizes. So it's a little different, but 2 ounces of cheese per person. Any guidance for meat and crackers?
Great question.
Not as much guidance as the 2 ounces of cheese, but you kind of want to balance it on the board. So not everybody's going to want a piece of meat and cheese and a cracker in every single bite. But so a lot of times we tend to be a little cheese heavy and less on the meat and crackers.
Yeah.
To kind of balance it out, but still want it to be like a balanced board.
Yeah, so you just kind of gauge it on look, essentially. But when you're buying, I mean, you have to buy a package, right? So it's not like you can go in and buy 2 pieces of prosciutto. I mean, you probably could at the deli or something like that. But we'll show you, we'll kind of talk about too when we're building the board, how much of each package we're using on a small board. And our small boards tend to serve, like we say, 4 to 6. Again, it varies if you're serving it as a happy hour, little appetizer situation, or if this is going to be an actual meal for people, which is going to be our meal later. So we're very excited about that.
Our meal time.
Our
and
husbands
it's gonna
are very excited about it. Anytime they get charcuterie for dinner, they're pretty pumped. So
also, fun fact, wine pairs really well with these. So.
Really, really well. So if any of you are drinking, we did have a glass before this, and we're not going to drink because then it could be messy if we start drinking, if we keep drinking. But okay, do you want me to talk about this? Sure. So then tonight we're also going to put rosemary on the board. So rosemary is kind of, it's really truly decorative. It's not like you're going to like take the spread off the board and eat it. You could. Anything that goes on your board should be technically edible, just to be food safe. But rosemary, especially in the fall and winter, just adds a really beautiful decorative kind of liveliness to the board. So we love rosemary. We also like to put spreads on boards. So this is the fig butter that we have on the list from Trader Joe's. We use this, we use honey. We do sometimes like a spicy mustard. What else have we used?
Depending on the type of board, like sometimes we'll do a lot of veggie heavy boards, or we have a veggie option for just all veggies, and we'll do like a hummus or a tahini. We've done veggie dip type things.
Yeah,
like actual homemade dips too.
Yeah, we've done some homemade stuff. Yeah. So so spreads are really great. And then you'll see we have a little tiny ramekin for the fig butter or the spread. We have our little decorative pumpkin. If you guys found pumpkins, we love this time of year because we can put a gourd on it as an actual hashtag. And so we put that on it just to add something to it. And then we'll kind of go through the utensils that we use as we're building the board, and kind of talk about that. So does anybody have any questions before we switch over to the board? Looking good? Okay. All right. Give us 2 seconds. Unmute. Okay. Can you guys still hear us, hopefully? Like we said, we're, you know, technology.
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Kaylee. I feel like every Zoom call I go on, people are like, can I hear you? And I'm always literally like, yes, we can hear you, geez. And then I just went and asked that same question. So sorry for being a weird Zoom fanatic. But okay, so the first thing that we always start with on the board is cheese. So we've got, you can't see the brie, but we've got our 3 cheeses here on the board. We're not gonna cut the brie, so we're just gonna place it. We also like to kind of place our, you know, decorative item in our bowl if we have one.
So usually like start with the big items. That's what you're gonna wanna start with. And that's why we start with placement of the cheeses, like the bigger gourd thing and the bowl and stuff. So placement of the larger items, and then you'll start to kind of fill around it. So that's the sort of main rule, I guess, with that one.
Yeah, the other side note rule is never feel like once you place something on a board that it cannot be moved, because as you'll probably see tonight, we're going to shift things a lot. So it's just kind of in how things start filling in, you sometimes just want to shift it around. So it's kind of like if you're decorating your shelves at home or something, you know, like your bookshelves or whatever, you tend to move things around until they feel right. So don't hesitate moving stuff. Something's easier to move, like a wedge of brie, much easier than a crumbled cheese, but it's doable. So,
yeah. And it's really organic and just kind of as you're going. And even with us, and we do this all the time, but we still are going to change things up as we're doing it, because we did a practice version of this because yes, we had to practice, and it's not going to be the same tonight. So
no, in fact, I was just thinking in my head, like, where did we put this? Oh, wait, where, what? This doesn't matter. So, okay, so I'm going to show you guys. So this is a knife. This is a cheese knife, really. And we use this a lot for soft cheeses. So if we were cutting the brie, we would probably use a knife like this. Like if we do a brie round, a lot of times we'll go ahead and pre-cut it in wedges because it's easier for people to just grab a small wedge. We're not going to cut the brie tonight like we talked about, but we also like it for the points on the end because if you guys can see, it helps to make really great crumbles. If you don't have a knife like this, I will show you a different knife that we also use. So we also use like just a little paring knife, really easy. So you just kind of stick the point of the knife down and twist, and it'll just make these kind of great abstract crumbles. So another thing you can do if you don't love doing this, you can cut cheese, you know, a block of cheese in like cubes. So that's another look that is really nice on a board. If you don't maybe want it to look as rustic as these crumbles, you can just cut it in cubes and put it on there.
And one thing that she was talking about that we use this knife for cutting soft cheeses. And the reason for that is because of the holes that are in here, and the cheese doesn't get stuck to the knife as much as it does with like a normal paring knife or cutting knife or something. So that's why this one is really good for soft cheeses.
Trying to put this away so I don't stab myself.
So then we place it, and I feel like this is gonna,
yeah. So do that over here. All right, so then we just kind of take the crumbles, and we're just gonna see how it looks around this pumpkin. See how the texture is really nice. Put those little guys in there, and then we'll see once we get going on the meat how we want that to look. And then the Gouda, a lot of times we will like separate the wedges if we have wedges tonight, because I just placed the crumbles where I did and I don't feel like moving them. We're going to leave the wedges together, which is fine because so we're going to slice. What we like to do too is slice some, but not all. This one is really, it's been sitting out for a little while, so it's super soft.
So we also kind of rule of thumb, you want your cheese to be at room temp when you're going to serve it. So, so sit it out, you know, an hour or so before your presentation, before you're going to serve it. And it'll be great. So you don't want like ice cold cheese, right? You want something, especially like a spreadable cheese, like the Brie, you want it to be, soft and spreadable, so you can spread it on a cracker. The unexpected cheddar, yes, sorry, is the one that we crumbled. Yes, that's correct. And then the knife with the holes, I don't know what it's called. Is it just called a cheese knife?
That's all I've ever seen it called, is a cheese knife.
Yeah.
But you can find them in lots of different places. So it's
literally, I'm pretty sure we got this one on Amazon.
Yeah.
So if you maybe Google cheese knife and see something come up, yeah, I will consult Amazon.
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
100%. Amazon and Trader Joe's are our best friends. So this is something that we would maybe send with a board and put with a cheese like this, because then people can use it to kind of slice off a wedge or a slice of cheese. So then you can leave it in a pile, or you can kind of stack it up, however you want your board to look.
Okay, any more questions on the cheeses before we start to move into the meats? Are we going at an okay pace?
What just happened? Sorry, excuse us, technical
Lighting issues.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, dead.
Okay, so I'm gonna start cutting up our first meat then, and this is the kind of white powder salami that we've got. So this one we like to typically just cut into little discs like this, and you'll want to cut them. This is a pretty strong, if that's the right word, salami, so it doesn't want to be too thick because it will kind of take over a bite. So if you cut them sort of thin, like this, sort of a, what would you say, this is like 1/4 of an inch?
Yeah, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch.
1/4 of an inch in thickness, just so you have like kind of the right amount of bite that you could pair with a piece of cheese and maybe a cracker or something. But we'll just slice it up like that. And then this can be just really organically placed on the board. We like to do it in lots of different ways. We've done it in piles. You can do it in sort of
kind of a little bit of a
stripe,
river
yeah,
or
a
a stripe. I think tonight maybe we'll stick it kind of over here by the Brie. Again, kind of like piles of things we like to separate and kind of you can put it in multiple spots. So maybe we want a few of them over here. Katie, I saw your question about, do you leave the rinds on the cheese? So great question there. Any rind that is on a cheese is edible. So you can eat it and you can leave it on the cheese. Some are tastier than others.
More palatable than others. But
so like a Gouda wax, it is edible.
It's not great.
Don't really recommend eating it. But I think, when I was slicing that, so here I'll move this so you can see, generally the wax rinds will fall off. Yeah. So you can kind of leave that on there. We generally don't take rinds off of cheeses when we put them on boards. Like the Brie, 100% I will eat that rind tonight.
Yeah.
Other things, especially like
there's some wax Goudas that we'll purchase and actually cut the Gouda out of the rind and leave the rind sort of intact and create like a presentation in that way. Like the Gouda gets kind of cubed up and we place it inside of the rind, so it becomes a presentation. And that's like if the rind itself is a nice fun color that's maybe seasonal or whatever, and then we'll use it in that way.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Don't eat the wax on the Gouda. I mean,
yeah,
you could
definitely some rinds are more palatable than others for sure.
Yeah.
Just gonna scoot these guys over here.
Yeah. Get them out of the way.
Like that.
Okay.
Then we can move on to the calabrese salami. So these we like to do, and again, there's all kinds of ways that you can create salami looks, but we like to kind of fold them into quarters like that. So they give you this little bit of a look.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then kind of alternate them in different directions.
And then if you guys follow any charcuterie builders, designers, whatever, on Instagram, you might have heard of something called a salami river. Do you want me to fold and you can, and that's just the way that they kind of arrange the salami to kind of flow through a board. So it just, again, adds interest. We're losing salami over here, people. So you can kind of put it and, you know, wiggle it kind of through, weave it through the board. Again, it just kind of makes your eye go in different directions to kind of lead you in different ways. So certainly, we've also done it where maybe we would just completely go around the pumpkin or go around a bowl or something like that is kind of fun. As you can see, Tara is stacking several of them together, which tends to be a little bit easier to maneuver. And then if you wedge it in between things like the cheese, it helps it stay in its kind of folded rosette form.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think that's gonna be enough for this board.
Yeah. So a lot of times, like, we just kind of stopped at that much and we'll move on to other things. And then once we kind of get the board a little bit more full than it is, if we feel like we need to add more salami in, then we will. If we know if it's going to be like a group of guys and girls, you know, guys tend to be meat heavy, like meat eaters, rather than like a book club or something. So it just kind of also depends on who your audience is or who you're feeding. But we'll kind of maneuver that and see if we want to add more, because we know if our husbands are eating this tonight, they're gonna be like, where's the meat?
Yeah.
So
so then we'll move into the prosciutto. And
sorry with that. So a lot of times with this prosciutto, the prosciutto is great because it can go a long way. Like Tara mentioned earlier, there's lots of different fun presentations.
Asking where the board is from.
Oh, the board. So go ahead, Terry, you tell them where the board is from.
So we actually get all of our boards from Square One Studio, which is Taylor's husband's business. They do kind of commercial, custom millwork,
custom cabinetry, conference tables, et cetera, et cetera. So they do a lot of like woodworking and steel working and glass and stuff like that. So, so he made all of our boards that we use. So we've been very lucky. Yeah, lots of different sizes, which has been great, it was really good because it was all made from like drops of wood from their projects that they would have otherwise just gotten rid of and not had a use for. So we were like, hey, we can use those. So that's where we got them. You can buy them all over the place. Wood.
He also sells them.
He also will sell them. So if you're interested, you can reach out to us on Instagram, sorry. And we'll share that if you guys don't already know. It's just spread_KC on Instagram. But you can reach out to us there on Facebook, and we can certainly, hook you up.
Or
but
our email is just spreadkc@gmail.com.
Right, email too, duh. Yeah. So lots of followers. Thanks guys for starting to follow us. You're popping up on my screen. But you can also buy boards in a lot of places. So Whole Foods, I meant to say World Market, Target has great boards, Home Goods, Marshalls, that kind of a thing, like TJ Maxx. And they can range anywhere in price too. So if you buy them at a store like that, I think it's great. Yeah, antiques are awesome. It doesn't have to be a wood board. It can be a really like gorgeous, really cool platter. It can be, like a really great.
I mean, it's basically just like a wood cutting board that you can use.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If you have a meat wood cutting board that you use like at Thanksgiving or something, or when you grill out, use that. Or, but yeah, they can range in price, but yeah, antiques are gorgeous. Just, think outside the box. So you don't have to use the wood, but that's what we generally do. So the prosciutto, you saw I cut it in half lengthwise. So you can kind of just, you can do like little, you can just twist it in like a little cone. We can sit that little guy there. And this, you'll see, it kind of just breaks apart. You can also just kind of like knob it together and make a little kind of pile. We tend to try to stick with one design of prosciutto on a board. This is like warm prosciutto, so it's,
that was an option, but I am going to change it.
yeah. So again, like sometimes we'll be like, let's do prosciutto rolls tonight on this board, and then we don't like it and we'll change it. So we're just kind of nodding this. Sorry if I'm like off screen doing this. So we're just kind of like, you basically just kind of wad it together. What you want with prosciutto, especially if it's cold, so this prosciutto has been sitting out for a little while, so it's warm, so it's a little bit more like easy, but you know, prosciutto, if you eat it when it's cold, a lot of times it's hard to tear apart. And so we like to slice it lengthwise in half like this, so that it's more kind of a bite-sized piece. That you can actually stick the whole thing in your mouth and not feel like you're eating a gigantic sushi roll, you know, whenever like all the rice is falling out of your mouth. Should all meats be in the refrigerator until right before everyone arrives? So meat, most of this is going to be cured meat, so it can actually be out longer. I would maybe not put it out as long as maybe you set the cheese out, because it doesn't have, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be at room temperature like a cheese does. And a cheese can still be cold. I don't mean for you to feel like your cheese needs to be warm by any means.
But it's just kind of like, if you're preparing the board kind of right before your guests are arriving, then there's a good 30 to 45 minutes of time that everything's out of the refrigerator. So by the time your guests are arriving, it's basically ready to be eaten. So that's kind of a good rule of thumb. The foods can sit out for about 4 hours with no problem.
Yeah.
After the 4-hour mark, they tend to get a little weird. So like any kinds of foods that have been sitting out for too long. So you don't want to have them out for too much longer than that. But while you're working with them and creating your board, yeah, they're going to be out for a good 30 or 45 minutes before you serve it. But because they are cured meats, it's totally fine.
Yes, at spread_KC is correct. And two, like we said earlier, when we were talking about preparing a board for tomorrow night, either tonight or tomorrow. So we don't want you to put your board in the refrigerator overnight. Like, that's going to be kind of a long time. But if you prepare it, say tomorrow, mid to late afternoon, depending on when your company is coming over, when you're going to serve this, you can certainly stick this in the refrigerator for an hour or so. Yeah. And then just be sure to pull it out, 30 minutes or so before. So again, your cheese kind of comes back to room temp. So it doesn't all have to be immediate. Right before your event, because we all know if we're all hosting people, most of us are running around like frantic, crazy women trying to clean and, do whatever, like get the dogs out or get the kids out or do whatever, you're trying to do before your company comes. And so having that extra time to be able to prep, throw it in the fridge, totally fine. And then be able to pull it out and be good to go. We always wrap ours in foil. Just be sure and cover it if you put it in the refrigerator, like you do most anything if you're putting it in the fridge, and then pull it out, unwrap it, and you're good to go. Okay, so, yes, we answered spread Casey, right? Yeah. So anyway, so you saw we kind of put the prosciutto in a couple different locations. Now we're gonna move on to kind of the next big thing, which is grapes. So grapes and other fruit that we put on the board. Grapes are great because they take up space. Everyone loves a grape for the most part, especially with cheese and meat. We like to cut them, like you can see Tara cutting them in these little easy to pull. Like you don't want to just put a big head of grapes on there, right? Like a big bunch, because then somebody's got just this huge bunch of grapes. So put it in, a small number of grapes that somebody can easily pull off. and also that you can easily tuck in to your board. So we like to put them all around the board. These are awesome to hold up meats, like your little salami river back here. They'll hold that up really nicely. But when they're in these piles, you can even pile little tiny bunches together like I just did here. So it looks like a bigger bunch of grapes, but it's,
easy for people to pick up.
Easy to grab.
Yeah. So that way you don't have people like pulling 1 or 2 or 3 grapes off of a whole bunch and touching everything while they do it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's the reason we do it. And we usually will like cut close to the stems on there so that, that wasn't a very good one, but
it's okay. Little choosies. I also like to just tuck them kind of wherever.
Just so you don't have a lot of stem showing up
on the board. Yeah. We like to, then you kind of, so if you have a bunch like this where you've got the stems, we like to put the stems down. So then you're just seeing this really pretty like little flower of grapes, right? So it's all about looks. You don't want to see as many stems.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we can say that, you guys. I feel like we just said that like 10 different times. So sorry about that. We get a little like,
don't mind us while we repeat ourselves over and over.
If there's anything you guys learn from this, don't show the stems. No, just kidding. So again, with grapes, like that's another thing that we'll come back in and fill in because we don't want it to be just like this crazy sea of grapes and that's all you get. We also, everything that we buy, well, I shouldn't say everything, but produce, fruit and stuff is generally seasonal. So I think we said in our shopping list, if you could find figs, man, we love putting figs on boards because they're gorgeous when they're whole and they're gorgeous when they're cut. We could not find figs in preparation for this board. So instead we bought blackberries, which are really pretty. We love to kind of pile them. Sorry, my whole arm was in that shot there. We like to pile something on the brie. So blackberries go really well with brie. We love to do that. And they're just a really pretty in and of themselves, just a really pretty texture and color. So you get some of that like bright purple color on the dark. So just think about, you can kind of place them wherever and tuck them in to places like so.
Kind of like mix them up with different things. So you don't just have like a pile of blueberries
are great too in the summer.
Yeah. Just so you don't have a pile of blackberries in one place and a pile of grapes in one place. Like if you kind of move them around, it just feels a little more organic, I guess.
Yeah.
So just kind of place some of these around.
Yeah. So right now the board is looking very purple to me.
Yes.
As I look at it, purple and white with this bright pop of orange. So we think about that too, like whenever we're buying stuff for a board. So we've got the pumpkin, right? So what other things could we put on it that are orange? So we've got a little bit of the orange in the Gouda. And then the other fruit that we like to buy are like dried apricot. So dried fruit is awesome. It goes great with cheese. We love dried apricots, are usually a huge fan favorite. What else? Cranberries, dried cranberries.
Strawberries. We do a lot of strawberries.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
not
oranges,
dried.
sorry. Oh, dried.
But not dried. Not dried strawberries, but we do use strawberries a lot of boards. Dried. Oh my gosh. I literally just had it in my head. It doesn't matter.
Dried peaches and pineapples.
Oh yeah. Trader Joe's has these great, they're dried orange and lemon slices. And they're generally in, yes, lemon slices. Fresh are awesome. Excuse me. These dried ones are kind of like dried and sugared. So they are an awesome addition to a board. We love them. We actually just bought them because we thought they looked great. Like we thought, oh, this is going to be a cool addition just aesthetically. And then we ate one and then they taste really good too. So even better. Delicious. It's a win-win. But so these dried apricots, again, so like you saw Tara put them over on the opposite side of the board, we just kind of sprinkled them in. So again, you're just kind of trying to move the color. Oh, sorry, I just hit the camera. Move the color around And again, we'll start filling in with those once we get more crackers, because I think we're starting to take over this board, running out of space. So again, that's where kind of the put a little bit on the board and then come back and fill in after you get all of your elements on the board. So Tara.
So these are the grainy, seedy crackers that we show that come in the large kind of rectangle shape, I guess. We like to break them up so they're more of a usable size, so that maybe the guest doesn't have to break it up themselves. And we also kind of like to stand them up if we've got space for that. We're sort of running a little tight on space today, but
these here. Same. We'll just move those little guys out of the way.
But that just gives it a little bit of a different, look, as opposed to maybe laying everything down. We like to have some height differences and gives it some depth and dimension. That's the designer in us.
But also I think, those are just, again, like we cut up the grapes, like we cut up their prosciutto. It's just, again, it's an easy thing for a person to grab. So you don't have to grab this gigantic cracker and then be stuck with it if you don't like it, or something like that. So the other thing we like to do is have, like we talked about, a different type of cracker. So some people may be just very like seedy cracker adverse, like really not into seedy crackers. I, for one, not a huge fan of these crackers actually. And Tara was like,
they're my favorite.
How do you not like these crackers? These are my absolute favorite crackers. I like them with stuff on them. I personally think that they're a little like, I don't know, just dry because of all the seeds.
Yeah. They are dry, but with stuff on them, I think.
Yeah,
they're really
but
good.
we love putting them on boards. Again, it's like, I'm not eating it. We generally put stuff on boards that we love to eat, but Tara loves them. And it's like a marriage, right? Like Tara likes them, she gets them on the board. But I love these water crackers, these rice crackers. So these actually, again, we could not find these at Trader Joe's. These are a Trader Joe's staple. They always have them. So I don't know what happened. It was like this weird mad rush on these crackers. So this is not actually the box that we showed you, but these are small, probably like $50 size, maybe just little thin rice crackers. I love these. I will eat these all day, every day, by themselves, with things, whatever. And they're a nice complement in color and texture to the seedy crackers. So we like to add, just different types of crackers, again, just different types of things to try and please everyone.
So that there's options, and picky eaters can hopefully find something on there.
And then you can just kind of tuck them in like we've done wherever. Might put a little bit back here, move some of the salami, pile it up a little bit more, add some crackers there. What do you guys think
again,
so
just
far?
You can find space on there.
And then nuts. Nuts are kind of the other thing we like to add. Certainly if you have a guest that has a nut allergy,
Rethink the nuts.
Please don't use the nuts. Cracker section threw us off. Like, we couldn't find them for sure. But don't use the nuts if you have a nut allergy friend. But you can fill in with more dried fruit, more fresh fruit, more meat, more cheese, more whatever. We just love them because, well, we both love nuts, and they're just it's a small thing. It's a different size.
And it's kind of a filler.
Really good texture, and it's a good filler. Yeah. Yes, for the board.
So we got a couple different kinds for this board, and this first one, these are Marcona almonds. Trader Joe's has them in a rosemary flavor, a truffle flavor.
I think it's just those two.
Just those two?
Yeah.
This one's the rosemary one. Not that you can tell the difference by just looking at them, but.
Oh, pumpkin spiced pumpkin seeds. Yes.
Very good option.
And Susan, those literally, you guys, if you have not had Marcona almonds,
try them.
Please try them.
My husband that is nut adverse actually enjoyed the Marcona almond.
They're so good.
Yeah. And I'm kind of putting it over here because these are going to be, they're kind of similar in color to these crackers that we just put on, and
The
this Gouda
cheese,
cheese.
yeah.
So I want to sort of separate them from those areas. So that's why I kind of put it over in that corner. I'm gonna do a few kind of right here.
I'm totally taking your pumpkin seed idea. That's brilliant. I really hadn't even thought about that. And I love that for fall boards.
Yeah.
For sure. Did you make your pumpkin seeds or did you buy them? While I wait on that answer. So then we also just kind of sprinkle in the almonds. I like to kind of sprinkle them sometimes on top of things, just again, adding texture. You don't want to get too crazy and just sprinkle nuts all over the place. Like you kind of want to be somewhat specific about where you're putting them. Oh, good old Trader Joe's. Yes.
Love it. See,
Going
it's
there
the
this
best.
weekend. Yeah.
And also be careful because like the Marcona almonds, the flavored Marcona almonds, that flavor will start to transpose to things that it's
yeah, sitting
sitting
next
on
to.
or touching or whatever. So be careful about sprinkling the nuts that are too flavorful all over everything. But unless you like that flavor on all the things, then that's totally fine.
We tend to kind of fill the majority of the board, as you can see, even the edges, which can make the board a little difficult in transporting, but you just have to, you know, this is where your balance and your very zen yoga skills come into play. Okay, Christy, I bought those two. The guy at Trader Joe's in Leawood told me the stock they had was all they have for the season.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to have to go tomorrow. I'm going to be out that way. I'm going to go tomorrow. We'll see if they still have them. But that's such a great idea. Love that. Trader Joe's has like super great stuff, especially seasonal, which I love because it's not, you know, you're always getting something new.
Okay.
Fig butter.
Fig butter.
So the fig butter, here, I'm going to let you do it because you're on that side and I don't want to like dump it. So again, fig butter goes in the little ramekin. You can use so many things for these ramekins. So this particular one, I think we bought at Target. They have great tiny ones. Anthropology has some really awesome little tiny bowls, like little fluted ones. You can use mason jars. You can use a tiny bud vase. Just really whatever. Tara's, you can see kind of like swishing it around, so zhuzhing it a little bit so it doesn't look like we just spooned a bunch of stuff in it, making it look a little prettier. Also, like we said earlier, we used seedy mustard one time and just literally smeared it on the board by what we wanted to serve it with.
Just left kind of a blank spot on the board for the mustard and
kind of by the meat or whatever, because a lot of people you know, like to put a meat and mustard together. I'm not one of those people. That's why I'm kind of saying it like that. But that adds a really nice texture.
Yeah. So if you don't have the ramekins, then feel free to use the board as the spreadable spot, and then just kind of create a pile and smear it. Like kind of fun look.
Fruit compotes. That sounds amazing. At Holiday Mart. We're going to need to know who Janet is so we can like, is Holiday Mart happening this year? Ooh, cranberry jalapeno.
That sounds delicious.
Yum.
Love a good
red
sweet
wine
and spicy
you
situation.
Guys. Oh yes. Canning Co. Yeah. So good. Oh, Canning Co. is Janet's brand. Okay. You go, girl. Like that's awesome. Yeah, very exciting. See, we're learning along with you guys. This is so fun. So the last thing that we're going to put on the board is rosemary and some pomegranate seeds. So again, I think we mentioned pomegranate seeds in the shopping list. Oh, Janet's Finest Compotes. Okay. Is she on Instagram or Facebook or something? I swear I live and die by Instagram. It's like, don't know. Okay. We'll have to look for it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that we're going to, you want to put them on?
Oh, no, we don't need to put the pomegranate seeds on. So
I'm not feeling the pomegranate seeds on our look here tonight.
So pomegranate seeds are, so there's a love and hate with pomegranate seeds. So they're delicious. Oh, awesome. Instagram, Janet's Finest. Thank you.
There is-
On nuts. Oh, sorry, Emily.
You could do like this kind of situation.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Like if you wanted to.
That's just for you, Emily.
As I
Throwing
throw
some
them.
pomegranates on there. So we love pomegranates. I love to just eat them. As you guys know, they're kind of pricey. And they don't stay fresh for very long. So once you open them up, the trick with pomegranate seeds, you guys probably already know this. I did not when I learned it, obviously, because I learned it. But if you look at the bottom of the pomegranate seed container and the juice is cloudy, that generally means the pomegranate seeds are not great. But you can see, Tara, if we use pomegranate seeds, we're generally kind of sprinkling them on.
Yeah.
So
started. It's
yeah, now she can't
happening.
stop. But so they're especially gorgeous on like Christmas boards or holiday boards because they kind of look like
Seasonal.
holly berries. They look very seasonal, but they're awesome on fruit boards, sweets boards, things like that. So you can see we just kind of put them, and you want to put them on something that they're going to contrast with so that, you know, you don't just lose them. You're not going to put them probably on grapes because you won't really see them. But then the other thing that we're going to add is some rosemary. So again, I'm kind of just going to tuck. So you just kind of tuck them in and add just a little bit of life to the board. Yeah, sometimes we'll cut them if they're feeling a little long. Whoop. And now that Tara's gone and put the pomegranate seeds on the brie, but sometimes we'll put like a sprig of rosemary on the brie. Oh yes, pomegranate seeds in champagne or prosecco.
Yes.
100%.
So good.
Yeah, we could put some in here. So not a ton. You don't need a ton. It can get a little bit overloaded if you put it everywhere, but kind of balance it. So if you've got, you know, you don't want it to all be super heavy on one side of the board, but yeah, you might zhuzh that one for me a little bit. So you guys can tell it just kind of adds a little bit. Maybe you can tell it's kind of hard to tell from above. And it also smells amazing. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit goes a long way. It lasts pretty well in the fridge. So that's another good thing about rosemary. That too. Now speaking of holiday cocktails, I did a pomegranate, Prosecco rosemary situation a couple years ago, and you just put a sprig of rosemary in it. So you kind of get that smell. Doesn't taste like it, but you get the scent when you're drinking it. And I liked that a lot. This is making me real excited for the holidays. So that's it, guys. There's the board. I'm going to dare I take the phone off and try to, oh, look. Oh, that's our board. Oh, that's me. Sorry, guys, I'm a hot mess tonight. So yeah, so we'll just kind of like aerial view over the board. So if you guys have any questions.
And I think hopefully,
So then Kaylee, I think if you want to take, I'm not going to zoom out too much. You're going to see our gigantic mess. You want to see our gigantic mess down here? This is real life. This is like Instagram, real life,
yeah,
right?
Party prep.
All of our like technology.
Where do you put the figs? I would use the figs as alternates maybe or kind of mixed in with the blackberries or something. So if you were actually able to find some figs, then just kind of intersperse them on the board. And we like to usually cut a few in half, maybe leave a couple of them whole on there, but just to sort of place them about and separate and just kind of spread them out on the board.
Good.
Oh, well, thanks. You guys are all super sweet.
You are super sweet. Did you guys, Kaylee, how's your board look?
If your guests are dairy free, have you ever made a dairy free board? We actually have not yet, but other than we do make a completely veggie board. We have a veggie board option. I should take this off, right? So we can do like just all veggies, but there are There are like dairy-free cheeses that are available. So
Yeah, we actually, so we are not dairy free, although, and thank goodness for that, because I think it would just be a really sad day. Oh yeah, sure, we can turn it back to us.
do you guys want us to leave the camera on the board? If you're still working on your board, maybe you want to look at it. I don't know,
yeah.
but and we can just talk. That's fine, unless you want to look at us while we talk.
But the dairy-free board, so we actually I have actually personally not tried any dairy-free cheese. I should not tell you that because that's not good. Oh, Tara has on accident.
Yeah, and it was good, actually.
So there are, I know, several good dairy-free cheeses out there. So we 100% would be excited to do that because we always love a challenge. But no, we have not, to answer your questions, but you could certainly do that. We've made another interesting thing that we learned in doing this is we had a request for a gluten-free board. You know, a lot of people are gluten adverse. And so as it turns out, the majority of the crackers that we use on our boards are actually already gluten-free. So we were really thrilled about that when we learned that, because we were like, oh shoot, we've got to go find crackers.
Yeah.
And then we realized. So, you know, a lot of this is just trial and error. It's just learning about different options, like using pumpkin seeds on a board. Hello. Or, you know, figuring out that your favorite crackers are already gluten-free. Yes, you should. Please do. Take pics, tag Spread KC so we can see them. We would love that. Love it, love it, love it. This has been so much fun with you guys. Yeah. How do you do that? Can we, Kaylee?
I guess I could just kind of show it. Like, that's what I was trying to figure out, how to show my tray. But if you guys can just like show your tray with your camera somehow.
Yeah, we just need to go into like gallery view. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Good job.
Oh, I can't.
Christy, excellent.
Addie, I love that you did
so
a
good.
brie wedge and all the gourds.
There we go.
Perfect, you guys look so good. Melissa, I like your tray.
Addie and Kirsten, I love that you guys tag teamed it. That's awesome.
Maybe. I'm trying to not block it with my fingers.
Oh, here.
Oh,
we're swiping. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Gold
scrolling through
pumpkins.
everybody. Oh my gosh, the gold pumpkins. I love it, Sarah. That's
did
so good.
you buy those or did you paint them? Oh, are you muted?
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, you bought them. Oh, nice.
Five below. Love it.
Awesome.
Looks so good, you guys. Jessica's and Ashley's.
Guys,
Charities.
see, now you're all pros and no one's going to call us for boards anymore. Good work. Love it. Yay.
We did want to mention that we are going to offer a 10% discount to everybody that joined us today. So if you do need a board for something for the holidays or for any kind of gathering maybe you have coming up, we are offering a 10% discount. So feel free to reach out to us.
We're going to switch back. Not that you really want to like look at our mugs, but yeah, like Tara said, sorry. Oh, this is not on mute. Sorry, you talk.
So 10% discount if you guys want anything, and feel free to reach out because we have a whole price list that we can send you if you're interested in one. And like we mentioned before, we do the charcuterie boards, we do veggie, we do fruit, we do sweets. So, or we can do a combo.
Custom.
Yeah, we can do custom if there's something specific you're looking for. Like we just did a breakfast board for somebody the other day.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We did, I think one of our most fun boards was our friend's 6-year-old daughter. For her birthday, she wanted a charcuterie board. So they called us, which was awesome. So we did a really fun meat and cheese and fruit and veggie and a breakfast board. Sorry, let me finish that thought. Little mini cupcakes. So that was a ton of fun, like cookies and stuff.
Child friendly.
Yeah, child friendly.
She requested pepperoni, so that was one of the meats that was on there. It was kind of fun.
A breakfast board, we did yogurt and granola and a lot of fruit. There's a picture on our spread page. It's probably our latest picture, actually.
Some little mini muffins.
Bagels. cream cheese, things like that. So
And that was a custom one they requested specifically and kind of had some
Yeah.
ideas of what they wanted on there.
yeah, so yeah, we love that. Just like the dairy-free thing, we love doing custom stuff because you know, I mean, you can easily get in a rut by doing the same old all the time. So it's fun to do.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll get the participant list from Kaylee, and yeah, just reach out to us on our Instagram or Facebook, or email us. Yeah, fredcasey@gmail.com. And we'd love to do boards for you, or yeah, whatever. But definitely, if you post on Instagram, please tag us.
Oh
We would
yes, for
love
sure.
that.
Love it. This was so much fun, you guys.
It was really, like, I'm not even nervous anymore. I was so nervous in the beginning.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much for doing this again. And this is just such a fun training overall.
Thank you,
So
Sam.
thank you. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, Christy. You're on mute, but I know that you're saying hi back. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. This was so much fun.
We have a group text for like the board, and I was just like, look at what I did at the training tonight.
Okay, sorry. We're going to brag. So, like, look at this. Oh my
That is
goodness.
awesome. That is so awesome. You ladies did great.
Thanks. We're so
You know,
proud
I
of
have
it.
I'm here with my mom and my daughter, and look, we did.
Oh, love the round.
Yeah.
Oh, little bumpy gourd. That's so cute.
I got that tray at Target like
Wow.
years ago. Yeah, and it was so inexpensive. So, how are you guys doing? Did you have fun? It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, we needed some fun from all the work. So this is
Yeah.
this is a good time.
Good. All right. Well, I can't wait to see what's going on with Holiday Mart. I know you guys are busy.
Oh my gosh, us too.
Yeah. Okay. Have a great night.
You
I'm
too.
out. Take care.
Bye, Christy.